This is Jennifer Lopez. And actually, that looks like a Hitler mustache. I've changed my mind.
And my interpretation is incest.
And we gotta hurry up and get this ritual shit going out.
Hogs. Yeah, fishbacks.
Hey, do diamondback snakes actually eat corpses?
Nothingness.
Hello, my name is Christopher Albright, and this is Panel by Panel, a show in which we read your favorite comic books. Today with me is a man who is best known for his work in Little Hospital, Mr. Kevin Alvir. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic. Today we are going to read Lisa Cheese and Ghost Guitar. Is that right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The Rock God Complex.
So, when you're a kid, when you're a young man, or a lot of young men, when they're writing their first superheroes or their first people that they want to write, it's these action heroes, these big, hulking guys and these things, and they smash. This is a cyber unicorn and a girl that plays guitar. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh,
Where
right
did we
on.
get this from?
Wolverine. No, just kidding. Where did it come from? I mean, I have like two phases of being in comics, and the first one was like being a child and being into like, X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman, all that stuff. And then I got into indie stuff like when I was, like 12 or 13. I started reading Sandman.
Okay.
Very sophisticated. I mean,
Yeah.
Difference of opinion now, but and then like once I got my driver's license, I was like, screw comics. Like I just listen to music all the time. But fast forward many years later, when I'm like 30, I like go through a breakup and I don't know what to do. So I just kind of like regress into comic books. And one of the things that kind of got me back there was Adventure Time, the cartoon, and the comics. So I kind of feel like I was reborn as a comic book reader again. And I read like a lot of Ryan North, and that was like one of the things that I got into again. That Adventure Time comics and the cartoon, Animal Man by Jeff Lemire. And that was like me kind of discovering like what indie comics were in the 2010s. I was familiar with them in the 90s, but that's like where I came back to comics.
I like that you said you regressed back into comics. It is a pretty often sentiment that comics are lowbrow, just rags, basically. I haven't heard anyone say that they're high art form just yet, so I'm excited to meet that person.
I mean, they are high art form.
Oh, are
they?
They
Can be. They can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't particularly have like the taste for Wolverine or Punisher, which I know is like huge. I don't know where they. I mean, that's just not really like what my vibe is for when I read comics. But I don't know. It just depends on who you talk to and like who with like their art school, education can tell you like, oh, well, if you read the works of Alan Moore or Grant Morrison or whoever the fine writers are, they could probably give you like their idea of like what high art comics are. I mean, they do exist. So
I like that you've named zero, but you're like they do exist. I promise. I just
Michael
don't know
DeForge.
there,
Michael
sure.
DeForge, Chris Ware. I'm like looking at my library.
No, it's okay. We're digging the hole. We're just gonna start digging the hole. This is a trap.
Oh my god! Yeah, hate emails, typing away.
I can't wait. Let's go ahead. We're actually just going to go ahead and open this up. I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to work our way through it. So first, let's talk about the very cover of the book. How much input? Actually, you wrote and drew all of this, didn't you?
I did everything.
So all the input is you. Never mind.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do this layout?
I don't know. I really wanted to have like, this is like a graphic novel series, and I also wanted to make all of the books as accessible as I can from like I don't want you to feel like, oh, I got to read book 1 to understand book 2. Like I want it to feel like Nancy Drew. So you can like jump in and like read any of these, or for more younger modern audiences, Dogman, which I feel like you could pick up any Dogman book and you have no idea which number it is, but you'll always kind of figure out like what the story is.
Absolutely.
So
That also plays back with the Adventure Time thing because you can watch
yeah.
any of those episodes. A lot of what I was noticing reading your writing is it does feel very inspired by cartoons we grew up on as kids, where you just immediately are like, "Oh yeah, this is I got it." And there is an overarching story, but you pick it up. Um, let's go ahead. We're going to move into our very
Okay.
first pages here.
Yeah.
Reunion. What made you decide to take place in a reunion?
Like when I finished book one, I feel like every time I finish a book, I'm like, all right, I did that story, I gave birth, and
Mhm.
then I'm like, what's the next book? And there's always like seeds of like what the next book is going to be, like when I finish it. So when I finished the first book, I remember just kind of like really feeling this urge to do like a reunion, a high school reunion issue, or not issue, but a book. And I wanted to like have the high school reunion be kind of like the centerpiece of this book. And I mean, I went to like my high school reunion and I haven't been to any of them since. I mean, I went to the fifth 5 year and it was a little like shameful. I don't know. I think like I went to like a really like I went to like a private high school, like a Catholic school, and
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I was kind of like bumbling through life as like I was just 22 years old at the time. And all the kids that I went to school with were like, well, I'm a surgeon. And someone's like, I'm a graphic designer for NBC. And I'm like, I temp at an accounting firm and I started a band, and like they're all like, are you okay? You sound sad, you know? So I felt like that was traumatic enough to do a book.
Okay. Yeah.
Or I just wanted to like approach that. And so I endeavored to make the high school reunion for Lisa Cheese be the centerpiece for this book.
Well, let's talk about this reunion. Let's see if it's as traumatic as yours was. How do we open this up? What's happening on this first page?
So on this first page, we zoom in on Maladroit Records. This is kind of like a tribute to one of my favorite record labels, Matador Records.
Hmm.
They put out, great bands of today like Horse Girl, Water from Your Eyes, also famous for like Pavement and Guided by Voices. And so we come to Maladroit Records, and Lisa's friend Linda works there. She works in like A&R, I imagine. And I actually never kind of come up with a job title for her, but it doesn't really matter. But she was trying to get Lisa and her music project like entered into like the Battle of the Bands. That is like something that Maladroit Records does in this universe. And Lisa gets rejected from that, and she's been wanting to like have some sort of achievement to speak about at her high school reunion, and she got rejected. Now she feels like a loser. So here I just have like Linda like, oh my gosh, Lisa, are you mad at me? Are we cool? Because you always hate like the messenger of the bad news. And
Hmm.
Lisa got the news that she was like rejected, and Lisa's going back to her home dimension of Paprika. And I'll get to what Paprika is in the next couple of pages. But we're kind of going through like Lisa's emotional fallout from being rejected from like the Battle of the Bands, which could have been like a great benefit to her had that worked out.
Absolutely. We're going to move forward 2 pages, but I'm also going to ask, home dimensions is a big play in this book. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then this is infinite amount of dimensions we're talking about?
I believe so. I think there's like probably in this universe, we probably have infinite billions of dimensions to go to.
Does that actually make a big play in the book? Like, do we need to know about this beforehand before we even open this? Or is that something that just,
No,
Okay.
It's kind of like I kind of always thought about it as like Asgard for
Mhm.
Thor.
Okay.
It's kind of like where he comes from. But just like here, it's like Lisa chooses to move to Earth City to pursue her like folk singing music career, and that's kind of like what has set like this graphic novel series into motion.
Now, music plays a huge part in your life. And when it comes to the actual writing itself, how often do you actually pick up lyrics from songs that you've heard and put them into the
Uh,
script?
it's almost like unconscious. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes, like, I mean, I think there's like some like reference to a Dusty Springfield song, which is, pretty like cliched or generic, but other times, I don't know. I've had friends read this and be like, is that from like this band? And I'll be like, I have no idea. I feel like I've entrenched this music that's so hard that I will just speak it, and it's just like the language that I speak, and I might not even be aware it's like, oh, that's like a Guided by Voices lyric or something. So,
We're gonna get back to
um,
that in just a little bit because I do have some more questions about your writing style too. It's very unique from what I've seen. Go ahead and tell me what's happening on these 2 pages.
so, Linda's like, how do you get to Paprika? And Lisa here's goes, we take the interdimensional train, where she holds up a crystal and it opens up a dimensional train station,
Mhm.
which is, I think, which is not, I think, this is actually going to play a part in the third book, but where it kind of opens up like the train's dimensional railways, and they're getting on the train. Her and Ghost Guitar is kind of powerless at the moment, and Lisa's trying to cheer her up, so they're kind of hanging out. And um, in the let's see, the second panel, we have like a little yellow, a tiny friend leaping into Lisa's backpack, unbeknownst to her. And in the next panel, Linda seems like no pupils are present, and it seems like she's distracted. Some foreshadowing for future chapters.
Mhm.
And Lisa gets 2 tickets to Paprika, which is, my version of Asgard. I, for some reason, really love Thor, but I could not tell you, like, I don't think I like any of the comics per se. Like, I like the Walt Simonson run, and the Jason Aaron stuff is good, but I don't know. I have trouble with Thor, but I feel like I wanted to do Thor in this way. I mean, this is
You
like
just
this is a hot
go ahead.
take, but I kind of prefer the Taika Waititi Thor handling, just because I feel like it makes it a lot more understandable to me as a
Sh
person.
Sure. No, you just wanna do Thor right is what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Um, quick question on the writing though here on this first page, because you have her saying, "We're going to Paprika." She's making, a statement kinda like if you were watching a movie, you see these characters make these big grand statements, and
Mhm.
then she's in real life, and the train station guy is just like, "Okay, sure." Like, he's just
Mhm.
witnessed her say this out loud, and it's like, I don't care, like, just give me the money." Um, how how do you decide to do these kind of jokes in your writing? Because this isn't the first time I've seen something like this. There's another one earlier on where she's talking. She's like, "We have to work with him, blah blah blah." Like that's literally what the bubble says is blah blah blah. Like, okay, sure, we get it. Like, we don't need the extra exposition here. What makes you decide to do this?
There is like, I don't know, there is like that sort of meta comedy that I feel like Kate Berlant and John Early. Are you familiar with those comedians?
I might not be. No, you could tell
Yeah.
me a joke if you want to, and just ruin everything.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if they really have like jokes per se
Okay.
that I could even quote. It's just like their delivery, like where it's like, yeah, I know I'm like trying to like take an interdimensional train to like my home dimension, and there's a guy that's like 47 bones and love your energy. Which, to me, I don't know, that was just kind of like a toss off kind of joke. I don't know. I feel like I would make that joke if I were to like talk to somebody. So maybe that speaks more to my insanity. But yeah, I just feel like I don't know. I just like really like funny writing. There was a when I was like 25, I like moved to Philadelphia to go to school, a grad school,
Mhm,
and I like picked up a book by like this writer from 6 Feet Under, which is like one of my favorite shows,
mhm.
and Jill Soloway. I think they go by Joey Soloway now, but Jill Soloway. That book really changed my perspective on writing because it was like every other line in this memoir was so funny, and I just loved the personality that every line had, and I was just like, "Man, I never cared for writing, but I feel like this book really made me, like, think twice about writing." So, after reading that, I was like, "You know what? I endeavor to, like when I write stuff, I want it to have, like, personality and, like, something that comes from me, and it doesn't just feel, like, mechanical or transactional. I want it to kind of have purpose. So I think that's why I throw the jokes in, just to also keep people on their toes and to also keep me as like a reader and a writer on my toes, you know?
While on that conversation, I also have a question. You come from this as a cartoonist, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've read a handful of other books where people are trying to be as perfect as possible. The art needs to be incredible, the colors need to be incredible, the word bubbles need to be incredible. Sometimes it looks like you had no idea where the word bubbles were going to be, and you're just hoping you can fit space onto the panel.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love it, right? There's personality there, but at the same time, what difference is there for you being a cartoonist versus trying to be perfect every time?
Oh my God. I had that thought running through my head today because I thought about like this conversation we'd probably be having. And I was like, I think about like a lot of people's work that like they'll show me or I'll see.
Mhm.
And a lot of it looks like, oh, perfectly placed,
Oh
well
yeah,
done,
yeah.
professional, and I feel like I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm like some guy from the '80s. It's like, I don't know. I just did it because I had no choice. I mean, I really wish that. I mean, I went to art school and everything. Yeah, I just never like. I don't know. I really just tried the best that I could, and I just like I look at all the stuff by like Jack Kirby here. I have
Mhm.
like a
Yeah.
pile of like reference books next to me. I feel like all the stuff that I like is always kind of like hand drawn, kind of comics. So I'm kind of janky as just a being. I mean, my music is janky. I think my philosophy to life is so janky. I'm scared of like the financial doors I could be closing, but also I just have to be me. So yeah, IDW, I mean, top shelf, thank you for having me. But yeah, I don't know. It's just in my nature. I wish that I could be like posh and very like,
Mhm.
oh, you know, but I don't know. I feel like I just the energy and the momentum. Honestly, I feel like when I do these pages, I'm like perfection. And then like after the book comes out, which is like a year and a half after I finished it,
Mhm.
I'm like this looks cool. And then by the time it like goes into the hands of other people, I just imagine them looking at it and I don't know. It's like it kind of changes shape a bit in my eye just because it's like, oh, I see how other people are looking at this, and I don't know if they're comparing it to like I don't know who, like I don't know, like the all the young adult or new adult graphic novels you see out there that are very like well done and I feel like a little janky, but I mean,
Well,
I feel like when I do it, I think it looks great when I do it. So
I think it looks great too. Not
thank
to not
you.
to knock the art at all, because I think about Dogman. I think about the Captain Underpants. Right, like these are
Yeah.
huge books. These are really big books, they're not perfect. I look at the letters all the time going, "Oh my gosh, like this is bad to me, but it's incredible." And so it's a
Yeah.
testament to the writing, it's a testament to all these things that are culminating and you go, "Oh, this is good. I understand what's happening." I can see Paprika here going, "Well, this is," or
Oh,
Paprika,
Paprika.
Paprika, my bad.
Like in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. But I see it. I'm like, I know this is an incredible city just by looking at this, and that's great. Let's move on. We're gonna see the
Yeah.
next 2 pages, and you let me know what is happening here.
Okay. So here we come upon Lisa's home, back in Paprika. She's
Mhm.
visiting her parents, and she's bringing Ghost Guitar. They kind of have like a simmering same-sex love relationship, and she's introducing Ghost Guitar to her mother, who I think I haven't even come up with a name for her yet, but like that's cool.
It's
Mother
Nancy. Yeah, it's
Cheese, if you
fine.
will. um, so she's introducing Ghost Guitar to her mother, who is a sorceress, and she's like, "Oh, Gigi is a Gigi, standing for Ghost Guitar. Also,
Mhm.
Gigi, Gigi. I don't know. I had like a bunch of girls that I knew in my life when I was a kid named Gigi, so that's a very common name to me. But she's like, she's a spirit agent, or she's a spirit agent from the spirit world." And her mother goes, "Interesting. Not sure I believe in the spirit world, but okay. And nice to meet you." And they just kind of have, it's kind of like one of those things where like the mother is a little taken aback or judgmental or scared of like who their daughter is bringing home.
Yes.
I've had that experience in my life. And so it's kind of one of those things where Lisa's taking Gigi around her house, and we meet her dad, who is constantly on his desktop computer sorting through emails that are scams,
I
which is
loved the
very
father. I was like, "I know this dad." So
oh my god.
he was my favorite character. I immediately went, "Alright, I've dealt with these people 100 times. This is great. Keep going. I'm so
Oh
sorry."
my god, it's okay. And the dad is just sorting through, and I mean, I feel like this relationship with my father, where I feel like he's just like constantly on his like email account or talking to like I don't know what scam artist, but so he's like doing that, and then it's kind of like you're trying to make like connect to him and get to know him, but he just really wants to talk about like his vitamin business. Because he's probably in some MLM scam. So he's always trying to sell you on something. And that feels very close to home to me. And here Lisa's explaining about like Ghost Guitar losing her strings, losing her power. And her father just kind of thinks that you could just solve everything with just like vitamins. So um, that feels very true to like my family experience. And I don't know, I never get to like read a Thor where I get to see like how Odin is as like a person. It feels always like, oh, Thor, like the battle of that land and this land, and it feels very not connecting to me. So I wanted to
Mhm.
do something that was like connective to me.
That's the next part of the writing I was actually gonna talk about was, these 2 characters. You didn't have a name for the mom, right? But they were
Yeah.
complex enough that when I saw them and when I was reading them, I was like, "Oh, I understand what this mom is doing. Oh, I understand who this dad is."
Oh,
And they are complex on their own with just a little bit of, just words. Just a handful of words is all it took to make me go, "I know who they are, and I don't really like them that much."
oh my gosh.
Um so that was fantastic. I thought that was interesting. I was gonna ask about family life and people that you've known because it felt really personal. Not maybe a
Yeah.
personal attack, but it felt like a personal person you might have met.
We all go through things, and family is like a lot of where it's like a mixing bowl of people that you don't really choose, but you have to like
Yes.
work with that. And yeah, I just like wanted to sort of express, you know, my dad and my mom, in their complex ways. I mean, I love them, but they also have these quirks where I'm like scared to admit this. But yeah, it's like, yeah, you just know these kind of people. You've seen them
Absolutely.
around. Yeah. So
One
that was
last note
important.
on the technical side of
Sure.
things. This is actually the page, first page on here, top right-hand corner, that
Mhm.
bubble pushed as far as it can to the side, vertical, and there's like 2 words per coming down. Um, that was the one that I was thinking of, and I was like, "I don't even think he made room for this." I think he just wanted her to say some stuff. You see the one I'm talking about?
Which one?
First
Can you describe?
page, you see the pagoda, and then beside her, she has her arms crossed, and the word balloon is
Oh,
just a vertical balloon.
right, 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 right.
When lettering these books, when working on that part of your process, do you
Mhm.
have any kind of hard, fast rules that you stick by?
I think I'm developing them,
Okay.
like like this, like my career started because of the pandemic. I mean,
Okay.
I started making comics a little more not like full time, but yeah, I mean before this I was just doing like editorial illustration for like Funny or Die.
Mhm.
And here in doing comics, yeah, it's something that I probably should have gone to school for, but I didn't. And
No, it's fantastic, and this gives it character. This is so different from anything else I've read, and I was like, "Okay, sure, like, screw it. Here it is. This is for you now." Let's
Thank
move on.
you.
We'll see the next 2 pages.
Sure.
We do have an issue of the guitar being broke, right? It's like a fun trick noisemaker right now. It doesn't actually do anything. Go ahead
Yeah.
and tell me a little bit more about this.
So here we're introduced to Is There a Chore for Me, which is the opening line from Kirsten, who is Lisa's sister, who is just like the way I pitched her to my friends when I did the first book too, and this book was like it's like Hela from Thor meets Bullwinkle.
Mhm. Oh, I see it
So
now.
so yeah, it's kind of like that, and it's like, Lisa is like in these like pastel primary colors, so to speak, and her sister is like just dark green, and you can't really quite make out the shape of her all the time, but I mean, I always make out the shape of her in my drawings. But she's just kind of like the shittiest sister, I guess. She's just always so mean and condescending. I wonder if part of it is kind of like the jealousy that she has towards Lisa's like ability to get independence, even though
Mhm.
she might think she's like a bit of a fool. Um, but here, Lisa's sister Kirsten is a sorceress, and she has her fix Gigi's guitar, which is mainly just like restringing it for now. And so we see that, and it just kind of seems like, yeah, Kirsten is just being helpful and being dutiful, just doing like the nice thing that she can do as a sister. But I don't know. I feel like she always has like a kind of a dagger out for Lisa. And and then in the next panel, like they're all planning on going to like the high school reunion.
Mhm.
Um, and Lisa and her sister Kirsten are going to go together. I suppose they were born in the same litter. I haven't researched how how horse girls or unicorns, or I don't know. I haven't figured that all out just yet. So, but they're going to their high school reunion, and Lisa gets dressed up in the most like kind of like He-Man. And also, I think I was ripping off Sif from Thor. Obviously, Thor is like a huge influence on
I'm
this book.
hearing that, yeah.
So she's kind of like dressed up as like Sif a bit. And for Ghost Guitar, I love the look of St. Vincent, the singer-songwriter from Dallas, Texas. Um, I was really into her look from like 2014. So I kind of wanted Ghost Guitar to embody that look.
Mhm.
for the rest of the book. But anyways, they're kind of waving off to their parents while they're watching This Is Us on streaming.
That was my favorite part. Absolutely. Again, it was just like this is a relatable situation.
And yeah, and of course, like nobody has any faith in Lisa doing anything right, so they depend on like Kirsten to do the right thing and to be the one that watches over Lisa. And also get people like interested in their dad's like vitamin multi-level marketing thing. And then they're driving around in Paprika in a floating vehicle.
Of course.
And they're kind of like pre-gaming, kind of like revving them, or I don't know, I guess like getting themselves like emotionally ready for this like reunion. And Lisa's like really scared because everyone has high expectations of like what their life should be, and Lisa lives in like kind of like an apartment with like cardboard furniture and like two mattresses on the floor, so she's not feeling too confident. And that is some life at home for Lisa Cheese.
So as you say this, and as I read it, it felt like kind of reading an abstract diary. Like maybe some of this is actually just your life, and you're just finding different ways to put it in there. Throwing
What?
that out there. Because you mentioned the traumatic reunion, and we're about to go into a traumatic reunion.
Oh yeah,
The
totally.
guitar itself, real quick, it used to be kind of like a sports guitar. What did it do before it broke?
Well, it the way that I have it, it's like Ghost Guitar could like form a chord, and she could play some chord and it would get the frequency of like whatever she wanted to manifest. So
Okay.
if she was like in a situation that like had to fight off a vampire, she would play like a G sharp and it would be like a garlic, kind of like a Green Lantern kind of
I
thing,
was about to
but
say it's
through.
a Green Lantern almost. All right. All right.
Yeah. And I love that thing about like Silver Agey comics too. It's like imagination and manifestation are like the great, like, those are like the weapons that they used back
Mhm.
then. I just, that really compels me. So I mean, I love stuff like Plastic Man or the Metal Men. I'm talking about like Silver Age DC comics where like,
Yes,
they become like a gazebo and somehow that saves the day or something. But
that
yeah.
works. Let's move on. Let's see the next ones then.
For sure.
You're so inspired by all these old comics, all these old things. I love that about it because it feels like a fresh take on that.
Yeah.
We are at the reunion. Tell me a little bit about this.
Well, this spread, I had to like look up what my high school looks like now,
Is
and
this your high school?
it doesn't have like the Jack Kirby stuff at the top. Like I'm talking about like the ring and like the sort of weird sheet metal looking
Mhm.
thing, but aside from that, it does have like that look
This is just a
now.
diary. This whole book is just a diary. Okay, keep going.
I know my therapist is like, "Oh, I stopped asking you about dream work. I just buy your books and I just like will
That's just
dissect
all
it."
here.
Yeah, he's like, "We'll talk about chapter 5." Uh, but here Lisa's like hopes and dreams. Oh man, and Lisa is just dreading going in for fear of the judgment that she'll receive, and they're met at the door by WTF. It is this character that I made up for. There was like before there was like a graphic novel. There was like a webtoon version of Lisa Cheese that I did.
Mhm.
It was rushed. I mean, I did this during like pandemic proper. Like this was like my thing, and WTF is this character I made up. It was kind of like a dinosaur meets Lisa Simpson with like fish hands meets like something like from Jack Kirby, like Thor or New Gods. But here WTF is welcoming them in, and she um she's kind of like has I mean, you could feel like some sort of tension I feel from WTF to the Cheese sisters. And
Absolutely.
then they put like a Hannibal Lecter mask onto Ghost Guitar, and someone asked me like, oh, was that so she doesn't, conjure any spells? And I was like, no, the rule is at this high school reunion, like she is a guest of the alumni, therefore she has no voice. So she had to have a mask on. That joke killed. And then they're walking into people
I was
usually
thinking it
laugh
was
at
trauma. I was trying to figure out how it might have been real. I didn't want to hurt you.
It's a
It's just
grower.
like,
It's a grower. You'll be at the fridge later and you will die.
okay, yeah.
So they're entering the gymnasium and she's met by Thundaria. And Thundaria just has some beef. It's not really clear what the beef is, but Thundarias are like pink lavender skinned, very much modeled after like a She-Hulk villain. I think maybe Thundra or something. I forget, but also She-Hulk was very inspirational to me for this. I think that's also like introduced like a lot of the fourth wall breaking. Like John Byrne's She-Hulk was like big for me as a kid. So here, they're all kind of checking in to see like what Lisa's been up to, and everyone's kind of circling around like what she's doing at the time. Just because they want to see like where her weak spot is, which I feel like is always like the asshole's way of trying to like get ammunition or something. And then we see this sort of like slime woman who is in the first book. Her nickname, I mean, I guess people would say her like superhero name would be Booger Daughter, but here I think she's just called Dawn. But that's why here she talks to Kirsten and goes, Kirsten Cheese. And Kirsten goes, hey, Dawn, how you been? Still caring for your family berries? And haha, I hope we get called for a duel tonight. And I guess like what is going to be revealed is that soon enough. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pause on what I was saying, but I'm just going to go back to WTF hosting, emceeing the thing. And she's just kind of like alerting the class that is being celebrated and how they always celebrate with a duel. And Ghost Guitar is off in the guest section, and she meets like a guy named Terry who's gone through a divorce, and somehow they like cling on to each other.
That's such a Terry thing, yeah.
and yeah, that's what I have to say about that one.
Okay. Do you want me to move on to the next 2 pages?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see what's happening then. Go ahead.
Oh, I guess I was like reading like my copy, but essentially,
is this wrong? Did I mess this up?
No, I messed up because I have it like kind of like it's sort of like spread differently in my book.
Oh, that's probably on me when I was cutting it out. What happened? What was supposed to happen? Help me out here.
Oh, essentially, it's just like this is all. No, you didn't miss a page or whatsoever. I already talked about like WTF hosting it, and she's like, hey, remember me? It's WTF. What is up, class of 98D? WTF is in the house. Yes. Okay, I am your MC tonight. You all feeling good? Face to face with the people that knew you as a stupid baby people? It's nice, right? And everyone thinks she's hilarious, and then they announce like how they're gonna have like the Carnage duel, and it's usually like a duel that is fought between people that have had famous beef, and they try to settle it here at the high school reunion. I mean, this doesn't happen in real life as far as I know, but on another level it does.
Of course. The concept of doing that fight, where did that come from?
I don't know. It just kind of seemed like the only thing I had planned was like, we're going to do a high school reunion, and all of it just kind of felt like, oh, this would be funny to me to do. And I guess like I always foresaw that there would be a gladiator fight. Like even I was actually looking at like a file I have of like screenshots that's like the lookbook
Mhm.
for the book. And for this particular one, I had all these like Captain Kirk versus Spock, with like the famous Q-tips fighting each other. So I really wanted to have that happen. So here, Lisa Cheese and Thundaria are paired for this Carnage duel. And this is actually my favorite line, which, I'm really glad that I actually get to like say what my favorite parts are, because I feel like sometimes reviews will be like, we like
That's
this, but
exactly why I'm here, is I wanna know, like, what went into the details. So, yeah, go ahead, tell me your favorite line.
so she goes, I hope Lisa and Thundaria have matured, because if not, this could be our most emotionally stunted battle yet. And she goes, all right, you're on, Indigo Girl. And which brings us to the Carnage duel, which
Which we're
let me
gonna
go.
yeah, we'll flip
It's
that
on
over
the
'cause
next
it's
page.
about to be a truckload of trouble. What happens here?
So we are now at the Carnage duel, and I had to like model this scene after the scene in Star Trek, before they get on the platform and battle. And here, there's like a little moment of like sweetness between Ghost Guitar and Kirsten, the sister.
Mhm.
And I think like I really like that. I don't know. It feels cheap for me in my writing to just have Kirsten be like a hard bitch and just like not have any nuance.
Of
I
course.
felt like I felt like it was like more interesting to kind of have them like, she could be a hard bitch, but she could also kind of be sort of like giving in little ways. Um and she is essentially just kind of like, I could tell that you and my sister have like a vibe, but it seems like you're not ready to face that. And and Lisa's kind of like wondering about like if she can accept herself in the face of everybody's judgment. We have Thundaria, who seemingly seems very strong and poised and very accepting of like wherever her life is.
Mhm.
And then like this very Jack Kirby, obviously Jack Kirby is like a huge influence, and they're like rattling their like American Gladiator, Star Trek Q-tip battle rods, and with WTF going go nuts, and the crowd goes wild, and they're having this fight. And yeah, I really love this. I feel like my art style, I feel like the thing about doing comics is like when I first did Lisa Cheese, it was like the first page of it is like looks light years behind this.
Mhm.
And for me to get to this point, I was like, oh wow, I feel like I'm like growing up. So this felt good.
I one of my favorite things so far is learning the different types of influences, the different people who have influenced you to make these comics, because when I look at these I'm like, oh, it's Adventure Time, okay, I understand that, I understand this. But then you have like all these really classic influences too. This is fantastic. We have
Yeah.
really quick comment from Miss Winter. I love you too,
Oh.
Winter. She says, I love this splash page. She is also doing
Oh,
art school, by the way. She's one of my favorite people to watch,
oh
um,
awesome.
growing as a creator, and she says she sees the Kirby influence.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about your colors. So,
Oh.
what makes you decide to choose, let's say, a pink background, this red background? Do you have a lot of creative process thinking when you're doing the color choices?
Oh my god, it's totally intuitive. I
Okay,
mean, I love who like, do you know that artist Tom Scioli?
I don't.
He did Godzilla Monster Piece Theater.
Okay,
He did Godland for Image Comics.
okay, yeah.
He was like a satellite guy in the cartoonist kayfabe world.
Hmm.
Like he would come in often and talk about art. I always loved like his combination of colors and the way that he made like his comics on Procreate look very vintage and stuff. I feel like he would pick like very um like wild colors, like a fluorescent pink background. And you know who else does? Do you know Michelle Fife?
I can pretend
Copra?
I do. If it makes it easier, I'll say yes every single time from now
Oh
on.
no, I'm
I
totally
love
glad for you to
Michelle.
be
She's
real with.
great.
It's a he.
Oh, he's wonderful.
But Michelle Fife, and I hope that he'll watch this.
I'll text him.
Yeah,
He's
or I'll
actually my
text
best
him.
friend. I knew him this whole time. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of know him a little bit. But anyways, I feel like he does like a really cool combination of like 80s colors. Like I remember he talked about like coloring something. I don't. Oh God, this is so deep. You know what? I have the platform for it, so why not go deep?
Let's go.
He
Let's
talked
hear it.
about like he talked about like 80s DC comics and how they would like have like the letters page for Batman, but the
Mhm.
Batman insignia would be like hot pink because that was like the cool thing back in the 80s. And I was like, huh, I like that thinking. So when it came to like the colors here, um, yeah, there is like that. I also think like sometimes I'll do a pass where I'll do like a purple or something, but there's I don't know. Honestly, every page I feel like it has to hit the right chord. So I feel like intuitively I'll just like pick out the colors that make it all pop. And
All
honestly,
right.
that's where it comes from.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
I have like some comic book art friends that are like, I love your color theory. And I was like, I've learned it. I don't think I could like spit it out, but I could like pick out the things that work for me, you know?
I I'm really digging all the old school influences. It's changing the way that I view this comic entirely now.
Oh,
Um, let's move forward and here's one of my other favorite parts was this little bit of conversation. Go ahead and let me know what's going on these two pages.
okay. So Lisa Cheese. Thundaria, hey girl, I want to apologize for anything I've done to make you mad. Ha, okay, Cheese. Hope I can forgive your existence before I wail on you. What's your damage? I don't know. You've always made me mad. You just do everything different. Sitting around writing your poetry, refusing to fight when you should be conquering. Well, excuse me. You're weak. A wimp. And then Sucker punches her. And then Lisa kicks her back. And, you are really pissing me off. I guess I'm just pissed like I'm just pissed you're not like me and punches her. And that's like the other part about like, I could probably let these scenes go silent. Like it's like, whoa, hey, bitch, it's kind of my horn. And all the while, Kirsten feels like a sawing on her antler.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, the dialogue. What did you like about the dialogue?
I like the dialogue because it's one of those things where when you're discussing a bully and you're discussing kind of what they go through in their home life that makes them a bully, right? Like maybe their parents treat them that way, where it's like, you have to be like me and you can't feel different or be different. And so I was like, okay, that's another one of those. I don't know if you meant to do it, but it felt like another one of those complex characters of like, this is her thought process is you have to be the same. And so that's what made her a bully. I like knowing the
Mhm.
motivations of my villains, even if the motivation is um, kind of like a straight line instead of being all over the place.
Yeah,
So I enjoyed the conversation. I said, "Oh, okay, this is great. She's doing her own path, and other people can't accept that." I thought it was
yeah.
fantastic.
Oh my god, I got
Um,
tingles. But thank you.
the close up we have this is another one of those silly little things where I was like, I haven't seen a close up like this before. You just drew the green circles and here it is. You have a instead of a sound effect, it just says close up.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
what what process went here? Was this just a shortcut? What's happening?
Oh, I think I kind of got tired of coming up with like sounds for things, like zzz, and I
Yeah,
thought it was like easier to just be like, just say what you're doing, like
perfect.
close up, and that particular image, I was really inspired because I was reading like Metamorpho comics from the 60s.
Mhm.
And I think there's like an issue, like the first issue of Metamorpho. I think there's something where like Metamorpho has to like shrink himself or something to get somewhere to like avoid the crowd.
Sure, yeah, it's my favorite comic. Yeah.
And it was like, it was so stupid and bizarre. And it was like, so it just stuck with me. And I think that's why like I made this Victorian surgeon get small in the comic. So yeah, so those are some answers for that one.
There we go. Let's see what's the Victorian surgeon is planning to do. What happens on the next 2 pages?
So, we have Ghost Guitar looking at Kirsten's antler, and she sees like a tiny like being on her. It's a tiny white cape with a tiny white top hat, like literally sawing her antler. And Ghost Guitar had some like vision of a Victorian surgeon stealing her guitar strings. So she's kind of like, wait, like we're connected and we have to chase that little thing. So Kirsten and Ghost Guitar rush through the crowd, and they're chasing after this like tiny, like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like super villain running away. And the fight is continuing. And there's commotion that could be heard by the crowd. And Lisa has like that, like, I love that thing in comics where like they see something like the peephole.
Yeah.
So she notices that there's like the Victorian surgeon is like in hot pursuit, and it's actually more important for her to help Ghost Guitar. So she abandons the match, and Thundaria's pissed. Everybody at the high school reunion is like confused that Lisa has left the arena, and they're running down the steps of Paprika High, school for gladiator girls. And they're chasing after this like demon cherub with like a Victorian surgeon on top. And it's like a whole chase scene, and exciting stuff.
Of course, action. When deciding how to do your action scenes, is there anything that you're trying to convey, or do you just think I need them to get from point A to point B?
I like to throw in action because I like to get them from point A to point B. But a lot of I love the very dynamic, like, Jack Kirby. Also growing up with like anime, like,
Oh yeah.
like, where the fist is like there and the person's like here, like those kind of shots are amazing. And actually there's like a very like straight up manga anime reference on the next page, but
Let's move forward a little bit.
yeah. So
Okay.
So the Victorian surgeon is sitting crisscross applesauce on top of the demon cherub, and he's like looking for a spell to kind of dissuade the girls. And in the middle panel where they're all kind of facing out like that, I actually modeled that after the Demon Slayer intro, where they all like, I don't know, the look of it just always makes me kind of like take pause, And here the Victorian surgeon is kind of like sifting through their grimoire, their spell book, to find a way. And then on the next page, he becomes full size, and this is very inspired by Alan Moore in like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where it's like just like weird. I think Alan Moore might actually know what these things mean. I just kind of just scribble whatever. And he casts a spell on them. And on the next page, which is actually the last page of the chapter.
Go ahead.
He casts a spell on them, and he sends them into a time loop.
Which is the next part of the book. Now,
yeah,
the splash pages, you had 2 splash pages in a row. What makes you decide to do a splash page when you're doing it in comics?
I think like when there's a huge statement being made, it's like, you really want to give it like a ton of space. So that's like the thing. And I wanted this like chase battle to really mean something. I didn't want it to just be like a 6x6 panel. I wanted it to be like, all right, they're in they've come face to face with a Victorian surgeon, and now the Victorian surgeon is casting a spell on them and sending them into like, at the time loop.
Which I just a note on the splash pages, I do love that it goes from both perspectives. It feels like almost 360 when you're looking at it,
Yeah.
and flipping. I thought that was really cool touch to it. But that is our 24 pages of
Yeah.
Miss Lisa Cheese and Ghost Guitar. What are we to expect in the next issues?
In the next book, I'm working that out. I think we're going to look more into like Ghost Guitar and sort of like the world that Ghost Guitar comes from. I'm really into like spiritual, like I'm really into like mediums, psychics, near-death experiences.
Okay.
This sounds weird, but I'll put this out there. I mean, I kind of practice spirit mediumship. And I feel like my character of Ghost Guitar kind of like sort of symbolizes like that sort of stuff for me. So that's kind of like what I use. So I feel like I'm going to explore some of the spiritual stuff I've learned over the years.
Miss Winter asks how to get a copy of the book.
You can go to anywhere where books are sold. You can go to topshelfcomics.com and like look up Lisa Cheese and Ghost Guitar, or just look up my name, Kevin Alvir, and or you can just like Google it. You could find a copy. You can go to your local comic book store and like order a copy through them and help out, our LCS.
Fantastic answers.
Yeah.
Last question, and I save this mostly for helping new writers, new creators. So I'm going to ask you a very important question. For a writer, if they were to watch any season of Doctor Who, which season is the best one to learn from?
Oh my gosh. I would say the second Chris Eccleston one, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I have to like watch more of them. I feel like it got taken away off of HBO Max and all the other ones before I could finish the David Tennant era. And then I haven't even started the Matt Smith era, but I got sucked into like the Doctor Who hoopla when the Disney Plus show was coming out. And I loved those specials that aired, but I thought the Disney Plus one was a little, I don't know, it was just a little too like, they were pandering so hard. I just like it when they were like being kind of cheap, like budget wise, and like just trying to deliver like a healthy, thoughtful story. But I would say anywhere, probably at the beginning of like the Russell T Davies. Do you have like a particular favorite?
No, not at all. However, I do want to say that we are going to bury the Disney Plus one. Let's just put a shovel on that.
Yeah.
Mr. Kevin Alvir, where can people find you on the internet?
You can go find me on Instagram at Mr._Kevin Alvir, or just like look up my name on Kevin Alvir on Instagram. And I don't know. I mean, I post on Blue Sky. I hate Twitter. I don't have my own personal website because it's like too much money for not much. And I don't know. My phone number? No. My email address.
No.
Yeah, no, we're not giving that out, guys.
We're fine. We're fine. But we know the next one's coming out. We know the places to buy it, and we know where to find you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing up today. I hope you had a good time.
Oh my God, Chris, this was great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, sir. And thank you, Winter. You guys have a good day.
Bait for the bait drill. Trash for the trash throw. Welcome to my emotional thunderdome. I am creative nothingness.